My egg donor abandoned me when I was 2 to live her life, and created a whole new family without me. 14 years later, she came back to reconcile, and asked me to play big sister to her kids. I lost it. The title pretty much tells the outline of the story. I am a 16F, and I am living with my dad, who has 100% sole custody of me. He has had custody since I was 2. My parents had me when they were quite young. My dad was 18 and Mum was 20. And Mum couldn't cope with how my existence inconvenienced her education and social life. She wanted to enjoy university, and my existence got in the way of all of that. Therefore, she upped sticks and left my dad to raise me by himself. And my dad is the complete opposite, and has more worth in one of his pinky fingers than her entire existence. He has been both the mother and the father in my life. He has showered me with the love and affection that I needed. He has been strict with me when needed, and has guided me to be the person that I am today. And he has never missed a day or an opportunity to let me know how much he loves me. He is my hero, and I doubt that I will ever love anyone else as much as I do my dad. I am unashamed to admit that I am a daddy's girl. Our life has been very stable, and he has done an amazing job of raising me throughout my childhood and into my teenage years. But now the egg donor, I won't apologize for calling her that, because just the thought of calling her mum turns my stomach, is trying to rock the boat. She's contacted me, asking if we could meet up, because she wants to reconnect with me. She gave a sob story about how she spent years regretting her decision of not being in my life, and how she's now at a point in her life mentally and financially where she wants to give me what I am owed from her. She also has 2 children, 7 and 5, and she is hopeful that I can develop a relationship with my siblings. This is where I feel that I might have been in awe. Because in an outburst of sudden anger at suddenly being contacted, I told her to F off, and that nothing that she says could convince me to have anything to do with someone who I only consider to be an egg donor and incubator in my life. I thought that I gave up on my anger and resentment towards her a long time ago. But it felt like the dam broke as I let out all of that anger and resentment that built up all those years ago, as I unleashed all of my pent-up feelings towards her. Because the anger that I felt wasn't only for myself and how she abandoned me. I also felt anger for the hurt, pain, and struggles that she caused for my dad. And here she is, trying to reopen those old wounds that both I and my dad have suffered at her selfish hands. I told her all of that, and how I consider myself to be the child of one parent, as the other one has been dead for most of my life. I'm not ashamed to admit that I took some joy in telling her how much of an amazing father and man my dad is, and that both I and my dad had a lucky escape getting away from someone who is as narcissistic and toxic as she is. And the only point where I remained somewhat civil was when telling her how I don't want anything to do with her children. Because despite my anger and resentment towards her, those children are blameless and innocent. And if she tries to use them as an emotional weapon against me or selfishly drags them into all of this, then that would only make me angrier than I already am. I blocked her from all of my socials. Though I know that this won't be over anytime soon, my dad is preparing to lawyer up if she does try and drag this to the courts. But for now, I am going to try and refocus on my GCSE exams and look forward to the upcoming trip away with my dad to celebrate the end of my exams. Comments. Comment 1. entitledpeople, your egg donor wants a free babysitter. Comment 2. That was my first thought. But the threat of a lump sum payment of all the back child support she owes should scare her off. OP. It might sound silly, but I wouldn't want the back payment on the child support that she owes. I know that it'll probably sound like mental gymnastics, but I feel that accepting her money would give her a reason to believe that she would now have a say in my life. Comment 3. entitledpeople. She's waited 14 years to contact you, while she's had other kids for what? 7 years? Nah. She could have reached out at any point. The fact that she waited until you were old enough to babysit is suspicious as hell. You owe her nothing. OP. She tried reaching out last year by contacting my dad. He spoke to me at the time about it, asked what I wanted to do, and he respected my decision of not wanting anything to do with her. He gave my response to her, but she's now bypassed him and contacted me directly. Update. This is an update on a post that I made more than a month ago. But the TLDR. I am a 16F, and I am living with my dad, who has 100% sole custody of me. He has had custody since I was 2. My parents had me when they were both quite young. My dad was 18 and Mum was 20. And Mum couldn't cope with how my existence and having to be a mum inconvenienced her education and social life. She wanted to enjoy university and going out drinking, and my existence got in the way of all of that. Therefore, she upped sticks and left my dad to raise me by himself. She's made a few attempts over the last couple of years to re-enter my life. Her first attempt she tried through my dad, and when he spoke to me about it, I told him that I didn't want to know her. He returned that message to her, and the most recent attempt by her occurred the other month. Only this time she bypassed my dad and messaged me directly. I admittedly blew up at her and took a lot of my frustrations out on her. Eventually, though, she respected the fact that I needed to concentrate on my GCSEs, and she asked if we could meet up after I was done. I then spent a while trying to figure out what I should do. I spoke to my dad about it, and he gave me his full support on whatever my decision would be. In the end, I did agree to meet my mom in a public place, and we met up yesterday at a coffee shop. My dad dropped me off, and I asked him to stay close by to pick me up when I was done. So he went and did a bit of shopping for our upcoming trip away together. I understand that this is getting to be quite a long read now, so I will try and keep it as simple as possible. But basically, my mom started giving me an emotional story on how she has spent the last 10+ years regretting not being in my life. She told me that she was young when she walked out and was really unsure what she wanted in life. I responded that I can understand that she was young, and becoming a mom at her age must have been incredibly difficult. But I pointed out that my dad was also young, younger than her, in fact. But he stepped up and became a single parent, to the detriment of his own future dreams and relationships. So whilst I could sympathize with her, I still couldn't accept it as being a good enough reason. I could see that those words really stung her, and while I knew that she was being genuine, I still couldn't forgive her for that, and I did tell her that. She then informed me that her children, my half-siblings, would really like to meet their older sister, and she showed me their photos and was telling me stories about their lives. This honestly felt like a stab to the heart, because a mom talking about her children, sharing photos of them, etc., is what I spent my life wanting. In the end, I had to ask her to stop talking about her children, because hearing these stories was bringing up the pain of the mom that I always wanted but never had. I also told her that no matter how much she tries, I wouldn't ever see her children as being my siblings. We didn't grow up together, and we don't know each other. They are nothing but strangers to me, and no different from the children that I see walking past me in the street. My emotions did get the slight better of me here, and my mum did see my agitation growing. I won't bore you with everything that was said, but by the time that we were done with our conversation and were getting ready to leave, my mum got the wrong assumption, thinking that this wouldn't be the last time that we'd meet up. Because she thanked me for giving her this opportunity to spend time with her eldest daughter, and how she hopes that we can continue to heal our relationship. I had to stop her there, and this is where I am now, second-guessing whether I was too harsh. Because I told her that under false illusion. Does this mean that we will one day have a mother-daughter relationship? I only gave her this time with me so that we could both say what needed to be said for the closure that will allow us to move on from each other. I don't right now, and I never will consider her as my mom. Yes, she is the woman who gave birth to me, and I will always be thankful to her for how she carried me for 9 months and gave birth to me. However, that doesn't mean that I will ever see her as my mom. She began to get rather emotional at this point, but I just had to ignore her so that I could finish what I wanted to say when I told her that I consider myself as only having one parent, my dad. And before we went our ways, while she was still trying to get her emotions under control, while begging me to reconsider giving her a second chance, I felt that I had to be brutally honest when I requested that she not contact me or my dad again, and that if I ever wanted to speak to her again, I would be the one to reach out to her. I'm not heartless. The pain was honestly eating away at me as I watched my mom getting more and more emotional, and I was struggling to keep my own emotions under control. Because I wanted to cry, but I couldn't. I knew that I had to make my message crystal clear to her that I don't want anything to do with her. Not now or any time in the future. It was only when I met up with my dad and got into the car that I finally broke down and cried hysterically. My dad has given me his full support. He's reassured me that he'll always respect my decision. Whether I want my mom in my life, whether I want to go LC, or whether I want to completely remove her from my life. He will always support me, and I really appreciate his support. His support has given me reassurances that I've done the right thing. However, while speaking to my best friends, they've been conflicted on the matter. They feel that I've been too harsh on my mom, and that I should have been more responsive towards repairing a relationship with her. They believe that I should try and give her a second chance. Otherwise, I might one day regret it. I asked them to change the subject because I didn't want to talk about her anymore. But it did leave me wondering whether I was too harsh on my mom when she was trying to give me a genuine apology for all of her wrongdoings. Because she has accepted full responsibility for what she did, and that there is nothing that could excuse what she did 14 years ago. That makes me feel like my friends were right, and I was an awe to my mom when we met up. But I am just confused right now. My dad has offered me the chance of seeing a therapist for everything that I've been through, but I am reluctant. I am foolishly hoping that once I've been on this holiday with my dad, and when we return home, these events with my mom will be in the distant past. Oh, and to finish off, in my last post, I had a number of comments telling me that my dad should chase my mom for child support. I did discuss this with my dad, but it's not something that he wants to do. He says that we're fine financially, and he doesn't want to deal with the stress of going through the legal system, which can be slow and end up in a prolonged legal battle with her. He's also got concerns that this would maybe give my mom more of an incentive to try and forcibly be more involved in my life, because she's now invested money into me, and that would give her a legal right to having some form of access to me. Comments. Comment 1. NTA. She said she regretted the last 10 plus years not being with you, but didn't even contact you even once until now. She made her bed when she abandoned you. Now let her sleep on it. Actions have consequences. OP. She's made a few attempts the last few years, but I always made it clear each time that I didn't want to have contact with her. I only agreed to meet up with her yesterday with the intention of telling her that I don't want her in my life regardless of what she had to say. But seeing her getting as emotional as she got did hit me in a way that I didn't expect. Comment 2. So at 20 she was too young for a baby, but dad wasn't. Your mom wants something. Maybe her new family/in-laws found out about you and questioned why she has no contact. Honestly, you did the absolute right thing for you. You got closure and saw her one last time. She had all those wonderful stories about her kids, but she couldn't, most likely, even tell you what your favorite color is. Not saying this to hurt, but for clarity, she is not your mom. She is just the person that gave birth to you. A mom is someone who raises you, sweats, bleeds, and agonizes over every decision about you. Worries about you and what you are doing. This woman didn't do any of that, and your dad did/is. Kudos to dad for being a man when he could have run. OP. My dad said the same thing. My maternal grandparents were both deceased before I was born, which is why they aren't in the picture. But word of my existence probably has gotten out to her husband's family. A mom is someone who raises you, sweats, bleeds, and agonizes over every decision about you. Worries about you and what you are doing. And this is why I show appreciation towards my dad on both Mother's Day and Father's Day. Because he took on the duty of being both my mother and my father, including certain stages of a daughter's life where a mom is needed. He has enough love to ensure that I've never gone without. Comment 2 in reply to OP. Then your dad is an amazing, awesome man. You deserve each other because you are also an outstanding young woman. Keep being you and live your life free of worry. OP. I jokingly tell him that he deserves every #1 dad mug in the world. Haha. People are often surprised when they see just how close my dad and I are. They thought that I would want to distance myself from my dad as a teenager. But I honestly consider him to be the most important person in my life. And I love the time that we get to spend together. Thank you for watching.